Hey hosers, guess what we did? We forgot to press record. And you know what? I've done that many times, but this time I'm going to throw Morgan under the bus for
Yeah, it was my fault. I did it. I'm sorry. Oh,
right here
God.
when we have a guest, our first actual guest on Video Hosers. The amount of time we've dragged people to WOC, we've dragged them to Riot at the Movies page, but the first Video Hosers, where we had earlier discussed that I realized when we say it plural, it's VHS, like that thing. We have Josh from Lunchmeat, who is going to relive a little bit about what we were talking about, and certain things are totally not going to surprise him this time.
So sorry. I can't believe I did that.
It's totally
That's so
okay, dude.
embarrassing.
It's totally
Well,
okay, dude.
it's more embarrassing to you because you're a professional.
Yeah,
When I do it, I'm the
yeah,
only one who's ever
this.
screwed that up before, and I get to be like, I don't do that for a living.
Oh, well. Well, welcome. Welcome to the
Yeah.
show. This
Oh,
is,
thank
now
you.
we
I'm so
actually
happy to
are
be here.
recorded.
What you did miss, and we do need to talk about right away, is that Josh from Lunch Meat Magazine that we discussed is not only having a new issue 14 of
13. It's 13.
13. Is it? Oh
13.
man.
13.
Oh, it is only 13. It's the unlucky issue 13. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's just I believe just pre-sales just went up right now.
Today.
Like so
Yeah, today. I
yeah,
just started on pre-order today.
yeah, so we're just like fresh new notes about this, brand new to the world. Go and grab it because they don't come out all the time. And what we learned is you wait for good things. Good things take time, and
That's
that's
right.
where you get that as well. However, though, Josh is heavily involved down at the Mahoning Drive-In for VHS Fest in its 9th year. And what I didn't mention earlier is the reason that I wanted to talk about VHS Fest is just another excuse for me to talk about my SOV film festival that we do at Eyesore Cinema, which I'm only in my 9th year, but we are ending this year. I am
Oh,
stopping the festival at 8. There will be new things. I'll be talking about that afterwards. There'll be different direction. But as doing a full multi-day film festival where all year long I get people sending me in some of the worst and some of the best worst things, I'm
Yeah.
coming to an end with that.
oh,
But you've got year 9 coming up.
yeah.
Um, do you? We didn't talk about it yet. Do you have any information, any sneak peeks of maybe people who are
Oh,
coming, that kind of
yeah.
thing?
Oh, I can't reveal any of that stuff
Can't
yet.
reveal any of that
No,
stuff.
you
Oh,
can't
still
No,
reveal any
secret.
big
Okay,
guests.
no,
no,
hey,
no.
that's cool.
No,
That's
that's
cool.
fine.
I just know
I
you've
can tell you
had.
the dates: July 11th, 12th, and 13th at
Is it
Mahoning
always just
Drive-In
3 days?
in Lehighton, Pennsylvania. And I can guarantee it's going to be a radical time. It's
Yeah.
always is.
It,
It's like
it
the best
always
VHS
looks
party
like.
on earth. So
I mean, every time I see people posting that they've gone to it, I'm always jealous. So I definitely want to make it down one year for it. It looks like such a good time. And like I said before, we didn't record. I actually would try camping which is a rare thing for me because I
you should
fucking
definitely
hate
try.
camping.
It's
But
something that
I'm
you
down
should
for
try.
at least camping
Yeah.
one day there and see what it's like. Because I mean, what cooler place to camp than at a drive-in? That just seems like fun.
It is a giant party, dude. Like that's really what it is. It's a bunch of people that love tapes and love weird movies and love that kind of culture, film culture, cult film stuff. Um, we're all just hanging out in one big space, and it's there's tons of tapes, from all the vendors. We're showing movies on VHS on the big screen. We have guests every year. It's just really fun, man. It's like the Woodstock of tape for tape heads. You kind of, you
Why
know what
did
I mean?
you why
Yeah.
did you start it? Like what was the impetus to getting it going?
My friend Ben Money, Ben Mazzuchetti, he's Head Fumes on Instagram. Really cool guy, does glitch work, amazing musician as well. He was friends with Virgil at the drive-in. Excuse me. He was friends with Virgil at the drive-in, and they were like, "Hey, you want to show some weird VHS? We just figured out that we can show VHS on the big screen." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we just did VHS Fest. We didn't know who was going to come, if anybody would come. Just kind of threw it together because I was always doing screenings in New York and things like that. And Ben connected me to Virgil, and the rest is history. We did the first year we showed Faces of Death on the big screen. Some great. It was
What?
crazy, dude. It was crazy, but it
Oh,
continued to grow
wow.
every year, and now we sell it out every year. Uh,
Oh, man.
First year was wild. Second year was wild. I mean, they're all wild, but I mean, like it's just grown exponentially, and just every year it gets bigger. It sells out. Uh, it's just I look forward to it every year. It's like my little mini vacation, even though I'm working kind of. It's
Yeah,
you
but
get to
those
see
things
all
are
your
never.
friends from, like you said, people from Canada come down, people from all across
Yeah.
the country. It's probably the one time a year you get to see certain people, and I'm really, happy to be a part of that and help bring everybody together. Because that's really what it's about, and that in the movies.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and this is a really great community. Like the tape heads are cool people who like similar things, and we all like support each other, which is really cool. And we
No matter how
support our
geeky we are.
yeah, we all support our weird little subsect interests within the VHS community. Like we all support each other in that, which is really cool because it's cool to think that there's the horror nerds, and then there's the like the found footage fest guys that take out their like look for the weird esoteric tapes. So then there's me who I collect WOC taped off television content, and it all falls in the same world of tape heads, but we're all doing our own weird little thing with it, which is part of what I mean. For me, I'm an archivist, right? And that's what I like about this world is that all of us are doing our weird little archives. Even if that's not the reason why we're doing it or even thinking about it, like you behind you with all of those tapes, like that's an archive of tapes that you've put your effort into collecting, and that is amazing.
This is
That
all one label.
that's all just one label.
It's all
Oh,
Star,
is that the are
Star
those the ones with the
Classics.
crazy drawings on them?
Hmm.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right, right.
I think I have a couple of those.
Well, and only a couple
Yeah,
of years
right.
ago. Oh yeah, yeah, right.
So
That
cool.
looked like, yeah, 1960s comic books.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Whoever
Yeah,
the
there's
artist for
there's a lot a
those.
lot of great cover artwork on Star Classics.
but even like a couple, really, like, oh, God, maybe even just before COVID, it was near impossible to find. Uh, you find maybe a quarter of some of the stuff that you have collected, that I have collected over the years. Now with Vinegar Syndrome, Saturn's Core, I just got an email earlier this morning from Saturn's Core telling me they were sending me a upcoming release, which I don't think I'm allowed to say yet. But so that's great because I did an extra commentary track for an upcoming certain gory film that involves the word bones, and you can, if you're a true underground horror fan, you'll know what the other name is. But anyway, that'll be coming out soon. Again, Saturn's Core works with you at the festival. But
Ross,
like
yeah.
Morgan mentioned, how it's a tight group of geeks. It's not a, I mean, sure, there's been documentaries made. There are the guys who are like, I'm going to find that Tales of the Quadhead Zone and sell it for $10,000 online. I think we've kind of burned ourselves out from that. We're not quite the like, oh, I got to hunt down every single thing and I'll kill someone if I find out it's a cut box. There's still those guys who are, going to flame somebody online because they sold them a tape that had this tiny possible drop of mold in it, that kind of thing. You're playing the online game when you're buying stuff online. But for things like VHS Fest, the Mahoning Drive-In, I don't know, was that 2-3 years ago that it almost got like completely shut down.
Hmm.
And the community really came together to be like, hey, come on, we want this thing to keep going, let's get the names on the list and stuff like that. And I think a big part of that, Mahoning does tons of crazy
Hmm.
gimmick nights events. Trauma does a thing there. They do that big Godzilla show there. They
Yeah.
do, even
They
I think
do
they
it
do a
all
weekend.
kinds of incredible events, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the people who were posting and talking about it and like really like saying come together to try to get this back and running and make sure this doesn't get closed down, whatever, anyone who needs their name put on any list to get that thing going, a lot of it was from you guys, from the VHS Fest. Like everybody went kind of rabid online as soon as they heard that that might happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of love for that place for a good reason. It's a place that brings a lot of people together and shares a lot of culture and a lot of cinema. And I think it's kind of like a sacred place for a lot of us. And it's like it's like it's like a giant club.
Yeah.
And you want to be there, and you want to. We didn't want to lose that space. It's such a beautiful space. I think it took only 24 hours for the people to be convinced that that place needs to stay there and that it's historic and that it has such value to so many people.
Yeah.
Beyond just showing movies, it's people make memories there, people make friends there. It's a very, very special place. So I was worried, as everybody was when I saw that, but I knew that we would persevere and keep the Mahoning where it is.
And as you said, it didn't take long. So,
No,
and
no.
It's
I think
awesome.
that's another reason why we talked in the unrecorded zone that we talked about how we'll find kids who really like VHS, or teenagers, or early 20s, people who weren't there when it happened. So it's not necessarily a nostalgia for them, but this idea of having something that's a physical thing, you've got it. It's something sometimes you had to go look hard for it, so you had to work to get it. Um, that in this world that's becoming overly and overly gentrified, if that's the right term of the word for it,
Yeah.
I think a good chunk of us are like, oh, can we find something old and solid that I can keep where it is? When those things are, these cool places that we go to are getting shut down, these availabilities of certain things are so hard to find. Every store I go to just sells the same thing. I want this thing that maybe not everybody likes and everybody gets, but that's okay. And I want it in my room and in my house. I want to put it on my wall, that kind of thing. Which
Yeah.
I think that's really affecting a lot of the younger people, because they definitely don't have, even in Toronto, for a person like myself who runs events, they don't have the punk rock locations. They don't have the cool, there's all ages shows. That's not a thing anymore. Like, so I think a lot of young people are already on guard for that. So that's why they attach themselves to, you see the kids lining up at the record store day events. They're lining up for weird tape collecting events. They're at the
Yeah.
flea markets that I only thought only grandmas would be at.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, I
amazing.
said it before, but I mean, it's they want something tangible. Their world
Mhm.
is drenched in digital shit. And like everything is, they look into a box all day, and I feel like I think my generation, uh, that was the last generation that really like kind of quote unquote played outside, used MapQuest. You know what I mean? Was before the internet took over, before texting was like a huge thing. Like I didn't get a cell phone until I was 18, like when I graduated high school, I
Yeah.
think, and that was in
Yeah.
2003. So like, and it was brand new then, and I didn't really text. People be texting me, and I'm like, stop texting me, like, you know what I mean? This
Just
costs ten
call.
cents every time you text me, but stuff like that, and
Yeah, you tried telling a kid that now. It costs you 10 cents every time you text.
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, forget about it, right? So I mean, it's what I was getting at is that I think that new generation sees through that, and they see the value like we saw the value, because that was just our everyday daily life. That's how we experienced film movies. We went to the video store, we rented them, we watched them on tape. And you were saying earlier that it's about a ritual, like it's emotion, and then it's
Yeah.
also like you have to commit to it. There's more commitment, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big
Yeah.
part of it too, is to be like, a lot of people cheerlead the notion to be present in the moment, and I try to do that too, right? And I think like having a physical object or using physical media
Yeah.
keeps you there, right? And it makes a different kind of connection than you would otherwise with like a streaming service or something of that nature, right? So
Yeah.
Which makes
Totally.
you just sort of flick through a lot. It's like, once cable got to 100 channels, I spent more time going through the list than I did actually
yeah, but
watching
channel
anything.
surfing was also a thing. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I
I
mean, I
worked
feel
with
like I'm doing that
yeah,
on the internet now too.
That's true. Although if I ever found a tape of like 1990s channel surfing, that'd be like the coolest fucking thing to find. So
Yeah.
yeah,
it's all hindsight to some extent too, right? Like I can't imagine that any kid is gonna, in 15 years be all nostalgic for the shitty UI of Netflix,
Right.
whereas
Yeah.
something like that 90s channel surfing is pretty cool, and I
And
would
that's
love
why
to
it's more
find
than
some
just
more of it.
nostalgia, for sure.
Yeah.
That's
hmm
why I've never given you this one home recorded tape I have where I am just flicking through channels when my parents first got satellite, but I keep flicking through all the porn channels and
Uh,
you see like every channel go for 3 minutes here, 3 minutes there. I'm like,
yeah, that's okay. I don't want to know what you were masturbating to as a kid. So thank you. Yeah, thanks for not passing that one on to
yeah,
me.
it does have aliens recorded on there too,
That's
but
cool.
then it
You were
goes to that.
masturbating to aliens?
I mean, he
You know
really
what?
loves the movies, man. I
No
mean,
judgment. This is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
judgment-free zone. Whatever you like, Adam, that's fine.
Let her go, you bitch.
well, I mean, so the channel surfing thing is, I'm working with a couple glitch artists right now, and they're creating something called channel surfing, and it's like
Oh, cool.
it's all glitched out, but it's like you're like channel surfing, so it's switching to all these
Uh-huh.
different things, and like you have the channel blips, and like you have the number on the side, and all the
Oh,
other
that's
of top
cool.
right or top left or whatever, and those are the
Is it
kind
going
of
to be kind of
Awesome.
like
things.
a background thing similar to your Halloween log fire?
Yeah, no, so I mean, like it would be, you're flipping through channels, so you would see all
Yeah.
different types of stuff. Yeah, so I mean, like you don't
This is
flip through the
definitely a thing I
channels.
could imagine putting on at a party. I can
Oh,
imagine
it's a
putting
perfect
that.
party tape,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for it. I'm very excited for it. But it
That's a
kind of
great idea.
captures that essence that we're talking about, right? Is that feeling
Mhm.
of just scrolling through, or geez, I said scrolling. I guess
Yeah.
yeah, but like clicking through or whatever you would call it. And when you have that stuff taped from cable, you kind of forget what that sound was or what it looked like when a channel
Yeah.
changed.
Mhm.
Like that's
Yep.
one of those little pieces of like visual and like AV ephemera that like most people probably wouldn't experience if they
Yeah.
didn't use cable at that time. So it's like being able to hear and see that is, however small, is pretty special. Because that's
Yeah.
the way it's
Totally.
preserved. Like as an archivist preservationist, that stuff is neat.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime I find stuff like that where somebody's been channel surfing or they like just put the tape in halfway through because they wanted to get it,
Yeah,
like that to me is really cool because like you can somehow feel the immediacy to what they were doing. And like some of these tapes that I have, they're 40 years old. So I'm literally experiencing what somebody 40 years ago was actually experiencing.
yeah,
That's really cool. And there are so few things I think in the world that really give you that type of like connection. I mean, for me, like each tape that I collect, it feels like a time capsule. That's a really cool thing, which I don't think most kids even really understand. Like but back in the day, television was like just a totally different thing. And getting to watch it now and like kind of watch it in awe is awesome because the differences now to what it was back then. Like back then, it was so simple and they allowed a lot more weird shit on television
yeah,
back then. So you can just stumble on things. You're like, what the fuck? Like this was on TV. This is crazy.
yeah.
That's what I love about it. You
Me
never
too. I mean,
know.
you just like it's a reflection of culture and society. With like what
Totally.
people were, because you say like somebody's experience, like they thought that this was worth taping, like they wanted to
Yeah.
tape this for a particular personal reason or whatever, and that's a reflection. And like you look at the way people like you talk about home videos too. I mean, I think those are really valuable to look at us as a culture,
Yeah.
as like an anthropological piece, right?
Oh,
And it can
totally.
probably contain, there's videos that contain, I think it's a VHS that contains the only images of something at Disney World before it was built or something like that, or while it was being built, because there was no
Oh,
photos
okay.
taken, right? But
Oh,
it's in like some
interesting.
people's home videos, like things like that, right?
Yeah.
Places that aren't there anymore, people that aren't there anymore. Like it's yeah,
I even like the
Yeah.
mystery of the simple story of the person who taped it because one of the collections that Morgan recently got was, I don't know, like 50 tapes that was recording the first 3 years of Much Music, Canada's answer to MTV.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's a time period that is still predominantly music videos. And one of the simplest things to take away from that is when they stop. You'll be watching like a row of music videos and another one starts and they might turn it off. And you think it makes you wonder, did they hate that song? What is that? What was the reason for who was
Yeah.
this
Who was
person
controlling this?
in the
Because yeah,
in the 80s who turned that off at that time?
yeah,
So
yeah,
because it was an
yeah,
actual dude that was controlling the system back then, whereas now it's all just automated. Yeah. It's just so
well, the
cool.
channel itself, but also just the person who recorded it. Like some of the
Oh, I
tapes,
see what you
they
mean.
they let the tape run out on some of them, but
Oh,
some of
yeah.
them they
Right.
don't. They
Well,
stop and then start recording again.
yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
why in the
yeah.
middle of us a run of 20 music videos were they okay with the Warrant video, but as soon as a Bangles song came on, they turned that one off?
Oh,
Like,
maybe they had
oh
the Bangles
man, they
song on the
disrespected Walk
other.
Like an Egyptian for real.
yeah.
Oh man, I of that collection, about 250 of them are just that, just the Much Music stuff. So I have all manner of music videos from that time period now. It's
Yeah,
just like
Another
everything.
great one that you have, that I think we did use on a show once. You found someone's home tape that was them bringing, obviously must have brought in a hunker camera, and we're filming Blondie at like
Yeah.
Ontario Place. And
Yep.
then we found out that on one of her tour tapes, that show is used
Yeah, yeah, that's
professionally.
like a
So you can watch him filming the crew, filming the professional thing that
yeah,
happened and
and
compare
his,
the two.
and his version has alternate songs that aren't on the actual released version because they just cut them for the actual
right.
release.
That's
So
really
like
cool.
the real record the like home movie recording. Yeah, this was some dentist in Toronto that had a video camera like well before
Like
people
early
had
80s. And
Yeah,
so it
this is
was
really early 80s. So I have about I don't know 15 or 20 rock concerts in Toronto of that he just took his camera to and filmed. And you can see people being like,
what is that guy doing?
what the
What is
hell?
it?
What's that thing?
Well, he
And
was
like
so
New that people weren't able to
they're
tell you
so
no.
confused by this guy's camera. And he's the only one. But the thing that I love watching those things for is there is not a single cell phone.
Right.
Nobody's filming shit. They're just there experiencing the thing. Wild. Like, what a concept now.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, it
fact that
is. I mean,
it's
it's
so weird to have it.
yeah. I mean, I try to just keep my phone away in situations like that.
I mean, yeah, like at a
I zone out
concert,
too much at concerts. There's no way I
what are
would
you gonna
film it.
capture that's gonna be good anyways?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
see it just like you do. You're at shows and everybody has their phone out, and it's we've all thought about it and how you're like not really there when you're just filming it. Like you're like
Mhm.
looking at it through a screen when it's actually like right in front of you, and there's like this really bad irony about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like disassociating yourself from it.
yeah,
That's
well, I mean,
wrong.
it's it's strange. That's a whole different conversation. But I think like
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's a
I don't
little
know.
too
I
deep
think
for
it's
this.
special when people capture stuff like that. Like what you said. One tape that I have is it just says miscellaneous like 93 to 96, and it's just this family's life for like three
Oh
years, and
wow.
it's everything of like they're watching the Super Bowl, they're playing pool, they reveal their grandma lives with them, and they just redid her room, and it's very 90s, and she's like, this is so nice, and it's got like the
Aw.
the wallpaper and all this stuff, and then uh they go to a grave, they go to dinner, like they're in the backyard fixing a car. It's just and then like, oh look, it's snowing. Like it's just you see how people lived and
Yeah.
like this
Uh,
average southern family, and it's kind of fascinating to look at.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
record of an
well, I
existence.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think people take for granted the time capsule concept because everything's online forever now, but at the time it wasn't. We won't show it today, but because we've shown it so many times, we
Yeah,
showed
yeah.
it on our
Nobody
live
needs
show,
to see this
and
one.
you know exactly what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
We'll
they're
send it
German.
to you. We're gonna send you the Germans. The Germans are a tape that Morgan found, and we play it at all our live shows. We put on Hawaiian shirts because it's a three German couples that
Yeah,
go
in
on vacation to
Hawaii.
Hawaii, and they film it, and the guy's narrating it, and he sounds like Werner Herzog, and
Yeah.
he's like talking about it like it's this epic movie.
But
And
all he films is the like half naked women in fucking bikinis.
yeah,
So
and then turns back to his wife
this is
looking all
his like
grumpy.
family home movie
Oh
that he's
no.
gonna show to his family, and it's just here are the beautiful women in their bikinis. Like it's that. You're like, what the fuck?
And then
Like
he video toasters the hell out of it. He does all these like it feels
oh
like
yeah,
when
it's
Lisa
super
Simpson
video. Yeah.
got the video toaster to do the star swipe thing, and he's playing around with
Oh,
it and just discovered
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's
got
this
that.
like 65-year-old heavy accented German guy in Hawaii just playing around with that, having the time of his life, talking about he even like encapsulates at the end just sort of and this was our epic journey and here are all the players and he does
Yeah.
still photos of all his friends from it at the night like it was watching a movie and
It's
we don't know who this guy is.
no
Those
idea.
people I'm sure are not even alive. It was
No.
obviously from the
No,
90s
it's
and they
from
were
93. There's no way that they're still alive. No. I mean like I don't want to, speak ill, but there's
yeah,
no way.
but what a treat to find that. Yeah,
yeah, it sounds like a real
Yeah.
spirit enhancer. I'm excited to see that. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
we will
I'll
definitely
send you the
send you
link.
that. Yeah. So
Thank
Yeah, we
you.
change
don't need
topic
to.
a
Nobody
little
needs
bit.
to suffer.
Not
Do that
again this
again.
time. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, well, because there's no way we're not going to play it again in the future.
Yeah.
It just comes
100%.
back all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
We usually save it for the live ones, but other than VHS Fest, Lunchmeat, my real big connection to right now because we mentioned how you appear in Coven of the Black Cube that we played in Terrible Fest last year. You're were you before Bruce got you into Coven? Were you because I know Bruce always goes to VHS Fest. And that's how I got friends to go up there and grab all his product to bring up to Eyesore. But were you appearing in a lot of stuff before that? Were you getting into people's underground movies that much before that?
Yeah, I think I
You're,
did like one movie a year.
you're so good. I
Oh,
know
cool.
I maybe I just didn't recognize you at the time first, even that knowing the magazine and that, and now I'm sort of finding them, and now they're bringing down to the woodworks for the wonderful. I can only imagine how incredible it will be when it's finished with the incredible title "Pig Shit."
Oh, pig shit. Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. It was super fun. But I really like Bruce visited me while he was touring on his last movie, and I told him about this short story that I had written that I wanted to make into a short film. And he really liked the idea, so he took that character and that idea and kind of sewed it into his new movie, which was Coven.
Right.
And he asked me to play the character. Because I wrote that character with me in mind anyway. It did morph a little bit going into Coven to kind of, but it was similar, right? It was that character, um,
Mhm.
and the exact
We felt at home with that because it feels like iSource Cinema, our home away from home, where we play our movies and where it is a video rental store as well,
yeah,
and whatever other random, possibly illegal thing we can sell out the back when someone's not looking.
for
I interviewed Zoe at the time that we played that, and we talked about how your guys' writing collide together with Bruce's directorial work in there. So again, we discussed about how that what I love is that it's a scene because through Bruce, we ended up talking. We did a video with him before, and then he buddied up with the Janice Click guys. Of course, you guys all know Chris Seaver. I mean,
yeah,
if
well,
Chris
yeah,
Seaver didn't exist, I wouldn't have been making any of mine at all. When the
yeah,
first
he's
time
a
I ever saw
legend,
a
dude.
Chris Seaver film, I was just like, oh, why am I not doing this then? I
Right.
gotta try. Like, let's do it. I know you released VHS from one of our Canadian friends, Torin Lang, and his three dead trick or treaters.
Yeah, I
And
love Torrin. He's such a great artist, man.
yeah,
Super talented, super kind person, and a great filmmaker. Just a great artist in general. So
as much as he became this like real artist these days, when I first met him when he was like a kid, he was at Shockstock and he was trying to sell me his homemade film he made at like 17 that he put on VHS that he was like only 15 minutes long. And I'm like, sure, whatever. But he was wearing a Chris Seaver shirt and so was I. So that bonded us. We ended up talking all the
excellent.
time and it was this bet. Which one of us is just going to get in a car and drive down to Seaver's house and be in one of his films? And then one day he messages me and just takes a photo and goes, beat you to it. I'm here. So
Amazing.
he's a Death of Lantern
Oh,
2,
so
one of my
cool.
favorites.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, because
awesome.
so it's just we've also very much bonded through Darkness of Vampire version. That was like both our favorite films at that time. I'm sure you probably watched that a fair amount of times.
Darkness.
Darkness of Vampire version, the Leaf Yonkers film.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like because that was all Torrin and I wanted to talk about back when he was like 18 and I was like 29. Is
Movie was
this
hard to
I
get
was
for
like
a while.
it was at the time, but I mean, I still love it. I could watch that movie
That
anytime.
movie's amazing. It's a masterpiece, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The secret to that, we have through Terrible Fest. To plug myself, on the 25th, we're back at the Witch Bar. So I'm playing the best of the short films that night.
Oh, sweet.
And that starts a trend of me doing the last Tuesday of every month at the Witch Bar. So hearing it first, next month, I'm going to play vampire or darkness vampire version for everybody at that bar. It's a small goth
A
bar,
treat. Yeah.
and I was like, if those people there don't know this film, shame on them, and they need to watch
They
the
will
longest
now.
cut I can find and rock it out in that bar. But let's. I brought some
Well,
random clips of some films.
all
So
right.
that's what I like to do. I like to make people
Oh,
watch
do
bad
you want me to
movies.
tell you about Pig Shit? Because there's a story
Yeah,
here.
sure.
Oh,
Go
sure.
ahead.
Yeah.
Tell me a
Yeah,
story.
Let's.
Yes,
because I
because
kind
this
of
is
like
going to
went
connect.
back to Coven, but just to say, I'm very excited for that movie. I did a Bobby Knipe Jr., the director, has been my friend for many years, like 15 years, and I had met him at Severed, which is a VHS fest that used to happen in Pennsylvania years ago, and we became friends and we just kept in touch. He started making movies, and I came out to his set and I did a bit part, and then he was talking about this movie, and it's been called Pig Shit from the very beginning. So.
It's a great
Um,
title.
yeah, it's incredible. And he was like, "You want to play the killer?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was a very physically demanding role. It was challenging, but it was so fun. And I think people, if you like 80s slashers, you're gonna like this movie because I think people are expecting it to be kind of like campy, and I think this movie is actually going to it's gritty and dirty and pretty scary at times. So I think
Cool.
people are gonna enjoy that part of it. Yeah.
It's not gonna. I was told by other people involved with it as well because I also talked to like Mel Heflin
I love
of that.
Mel. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know Mel's in there. So they've mentioned how it's not as silly as the title sounds, which is I think a wonderful mislead. I think
Mhm.
that's great, especially for this genre. But back when oh man, why can't I think of the guy who made it? Back when I think the first Terrible Fest, we played a movie called Zombie Babies, and I was just like,
I
because
remember that
it's
one.
gross and it's disgusting, and then I was like, oh, what else did that guy make? And it's like, oh, he made Pork Chop 1, 2, and 3,
Oh, cool.
which are definitely camp, and I'm just gonna let the audience watch a trailer for Pork Chop right now with us.
Okay, is that where we're going to?
Yeah,
All
I think
right,
that's
here
where
we
we
go.
should go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pork chop it is.
That's a sign of I want it right there. If I see independent entertainment and that little gremlin creature, that little bug monster, I want it.
Razor sharp. I like these the titles.
Yeah.
The way they come in.
When you go camping in the woods, remember, watch out for snakes.
I love the narration.
I heard if you make a lot of noise, it scares away.
This movie's not very PC. I'll mention that.
It doesn't look like it would be.
Back in
Ticks
a tick, love.
Ticks? Ticks where?
and the occasional robot.
What?
See, Richie?
That's why I needed to play the trailer. No one's ready for the the humping robot.
I thought they were worried about snakes, not humping robots.
No, they should be worried about pig mass killers.
Watch out for
Whoa!
pork chop.
All right. That's a quality looking mask.
Yeah, you know, it's just a real pig.
It's just a real pig.
I remember as a kid, one of my favorite moments of going into the horror section at before I was renting whatever I wanted. When mom and dad would be like, my mom and dad never scared me away from horror. I was raised on it, but if they for the B movie stuff that I absolutely love now, they were always like, oh, it looks too dumb or whatever. But the one title that until my teens and I had to see it immediately as soon as I was renting on my own was Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Like that cover alone just like haunted a whole bunch of kids in the 80s. And there's some really funny photos online of like the premiere of that they actually like pushed like back in that day that kind of a movie would get this theater run and get like a real advertised push.
Wait,
but
that actually played in a movie theater?
yeah, there's some really funny photos where the
I mean, I
killer
guess that
shows up
makes
to
sense,
take
yeah.
photos with families that saw it because it's also before the real like rated R era. So
Yeah.
like people still took their families, and like in New York City, a theater would just let a whole family go see that. And
What a
on
different
today's
time.
day, Slaughterhouse, even to some hardcore horror gore fans, is kind of tame. But there's still some parts of that, which that opening movie has. The opening of that just has them filming in a slaughterhouse for the whole opening credits, and that'll turn the stomachs of the most hardcore carnivores. But yeah, love it. So and
There's
that's
a lot of slaughterhouse vibe on pig shit. Like that's a lot of like what we were going for is like Buddy, but
Oh, cool.
kind of just that dirty, gritty, greasy kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that's how it feels. So I'm excited.
as much as
Cool.
people may say, hey, there's a lot of killers that are pig mass killers. I mean, is it the Mason County killer? I think it's like an actual like urban legend of a pig-headed killer from
County or something. Yeah.
yeah. That's so. I mean, it's iconic. The whole persona that it's a legend on its own. I'm excited. The other trailer I brought is because we mentioned Mel. I was in there, and I was excited that she was doing stuff in there. I love that she has really also branched out. She's been crossing over with a lot of people that we've done stuff with the Terrible Fest, including for the makers of Graveyard Shark. We had them the same time we played Coven of the Black Cube.
Great.
Morgan was at that one.
I did watch Graveyard Shark.
Yeah.
That costume is amazing.
They have a new film, and Mel is in that. And I guess it's a spoiler because right on the cover, Mel looks like they're covered in blood. So I guess Mel doesn't do so well in this movie. But it is a new epic pirate killer movie, and that was the other trailer I got you to grab. Last night there, Morgan.
Blood Red Beach.
Yeah, that's
All
the
right,
one.
here we go. Just pick the right. There we go.
These guys have been knocking it out of the park for a little while now too.
I trust. that
Lots
my
of
mind
recognizable
evolved like the
faces
story
for
of Captain
films that
Morgan
cross over with our
Cross.
Cena friends here.
A bloodthirsty cutthroat, destined to haunt this island for all.
The production value is actually quite
It
good.
happened on this
Like it's
very
amazing some of
island. In
these low
fact,
budget
you all
movies. The
now
quality
sit
of image that they can
precisely
produce.
Where Cross met his demise.
Well, we are living in a world
But
where
his
people like
soul
the do it at home thing
remains
can be
closed.
available. They don't all have to look as
Doomed
terrible as my
to
movies
forever
anymore.
roam until he is reunited with his soul.
You pride yourself on that.
I
that's,
do.
That's the
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
This gold.
So,
I love this guy. He was great in Graveyard Shark. I'm waiting to see what he does in this
on
one.
a dead man's chest, Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Drink and the devil will be done with the rest. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
This looks great. Blood Red Beach.
Hi, I'm
Hi,
Matthew.
Matthew. I thought we'd
director
bring
of
Matthew
Blood
in
Red
just to say
Beach.
hi
And
again.
what you just experienced was a glimpse of the horror
Matthew
and
will love that I
post-haunting adventure
left this
we are
in.
crafting. Our team at Magical Films is hard at work creating a unique horror experience, but we
Yeah,
need your
look at
help.
it.
Well, you
That's
don't
nice.
anymore because now the movie's over. That's all you get, Matthew. We could add that. I just wanted Matthew to
That's
appear.
all we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the last time when we had Matthew on the show, I had two friends who'd never been on before to review the movie Graveyard Shark, and then I kept Matthew hidden in the chat, and we talked. I had the two guys who don't usually, like Brian, our friend, who
Yeah.
he's only recently kind of been coming out to the screenings, so I got him to review it, giving his honest opinion, not knowing that Matthew was secretly in there, and then I just popped him in, and he's just staring at them, and I didn't even introduce him. He just sort of
my
appeared at the
God.
fourth screen for a bit. So
That's
he's
beautiful.
a great trooper. I love what he's been doing, and I love that the other people that he's been working with too. Great stuff.
Yeah, that looks really good. I can't wait to watch that.
Cool.
What else is there any other projects that you can talk about that you've been getting some appearances in that we should look out for?
Oh yeah, I'm doing another movie called Bloody Bones with Bobby, which is gonna be finishing in May.
Oh, cool.
It's like a local North Carolina legend, and it's kind of like this folklore horror kind of thing, and it's gonna be really cool. I have a pretty major part in that movie. I'm one of the main characters, and basically, man, I just play myself in all these movies. I just play like a like a weird stoner guy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
I hope
That's
that
what we
in
all are.
pig shit that's not exactly like you.
no. So I mean, it's not. Pig shit. That was why it was different, because I usually get cast as like the funny stoner guy, right? So, and that's great. I love doing it. I love doing those parts, but I loved being behind the mask. Like, it was so cool to be able to bring this character to life with just movement, and I was making these pig squeal sounds, and it was really, really fun, man. So yeah.
Cool. Oh, I can't
But I mean,
wait.
no, I was just Pig Shit comes in October, and I think Bloody Bones will be out by the end of the year as well. I'm sure I'll pick up another role here or there. You know, people ask me to do stuff sometimes, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude! How do I get there? So I'm just excited to make some art with cool people. So
I'm gonna have you come up here and put you in something or one of Adam's movies.
Yeah,
I would
we'll
love
see
to
what
do
we
that.
can make you with.
I would
You'll
love
wear the
to do
panda
that.
head next time. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
I
figure
think
out a way to make
three
that
guys have been
happen.
him so far. Our most recent one that we just read. What I do is here in the video store. I sucker in regular customers and sort of like make them into a cult. The people who start coming to the screenings, I'll be like, "Hey, you've come to a whole bunch of these ones. You want to be in one we're just going to make?" So in the video store, we have about 8 movies that we've made where I've just like put drywall in different parts of the store to make it look like different places.
Yeah.
And then we just ham it up. The new one that we just finished called Little Bastard, about a shrunken down barbarian, is it came up really short. It's very, very short. So I'm going to do what I always do. I kind of play most of the stuff straight with the new actors, the young people who came in, who I got a bunch of like 19, 20-year-olds that were like their first time doing stuff with us. So I kind of let them play everything fairly straight, gave them a few funny lines, now knowing we were going to come up short. So now I'm making all these scenes that make everything look really silly, and they have no idea. So they're going to see it when everybody else sees
man.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
You're a
can't wait.
prankster, dude.
Well, a little bit. I mean,
Well,
they
this-
know. They knew it wasn't going to be as straight as they played it. They
Right
seemed very on guard about that. They're like, "This seems normal for you," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, we'll see."
This is also the first one that I'm in.
Yeah,
which I'm
yeah,
really
you
excited
get your
about.
first death.
Yeah, I get my first death on screen.
The only other time
Dang.
Morgan is in one of my films because he walked out of a bathroom and was all high and stared at the camera in a shot, and I just left it in.
Yeah, you just put it in. So
Yeah.
there's just one random shot of me behind going like, that's it. That's my entire, yeah.
We will be making Farces of Death 2, though. We made a movie called Farces of Death with a whole bunch of people in it. Bruce appears in there. Janice Click appears in there. A bunch of other like Canadian indie guys just all made 2-minute scenes of them humorously dying. Justin from Gosh Darn Video, that connects back
I love all
to
those
this whole
dudes,
thing.
man. They're
Yeah.
all good people, great people. Yeah,
This one we're gonna get David from Flesh Games to do something in there. I mean, I'm
Oh,
loving
cool.
those
David
guys and stuff
rules.
they've been doing. Yeah. Um, saying about new videos. I mean, it's a little weird that you're getting people lining up to Target to get Terrifier 2 on tape, but whatever. It is what it is. If people love the media, I don't mind the movie. So hey,
Yeah, whatever.
let's give it. Let's do it. I am loving guys like Gosh Darn Video. They're releasing our Amityville Outhouse film
Hell yeah.
in about a month or so. So I'm glad that they're doing that. They also are releasing Olivia's Wallet Monster film that is opening up Terrible Fest. So that all
cool.
kind of connects to us, as well as, of course, all the other releases that you've been doing. You get all the cool guys, though, because you're the OG of releasing the new horror films on VHS. What's the most recent one that you've just brought out?
That
We
you
did
can talk about.
Emasculator with
Oh yeah, right.
and
Yeah,
yeah, so that movie's wild, and I love it. Very happy to work with it. I think it's a movie that pushes boundaries, and I'm really happy with that. Some other movies I've been working with, I just did the Fat Wreck documentary from Fat Records. If you're into pop punk or that kind of punk, that was really cool. This movie called Hippo, starring Kimball Farley, which is basically if what did somebody say? But basically, it's like if David Lynch directed Napoleon Dynamite. Like that's kind of the
Oh,
vibe on it. So
Okay.
it's
I'm
really
totally
really
into that.
fun, and it's really darkly funny. Um, Probably my favorite coming of age dark comedy film maybe ever. So like it's very
Okay.
very good. I highly recommend that one. Um, I just did Holy Trinity from Glam Hag, which is a really really fun kind of candy colored queer like horror film. Well, I don't, you have to watch it, but it's about this girl who hears the dead after she like huffs this air freshener thing. It's really really cool.
Sure.
It's an
I was not expecting the second part of that sentence. All
Yeah,
right.
that's not where I was
yeah. So
expecting
like
that to
You're dead.
go.
huff,
That's
That's
normal.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
After having
yeah,
air
so
freshener.
they huff this like air freshener, and then all of a sudden they can hear the dead. And
You did tape for Psycho Ape 2, didn't you?
oh yeah, we're doing Psycho Wave 1 and 2 this coming month.
Nice.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we're
Yeah,
gonna bring
love them
Psycho Wave
both.
1, and then Psycho Wave 2 is coming out. I'm doing Little Corey Gory. I don't know if you're
Yeah, I
Yeah.
familiar with
love
that.
that one. I did
Yeah,
a
me
big review
too.
of that
Me
a while ago.
too.
It was
And
like,
it only
I
got
couldn't
like
believe that hid away.
what's that?
I couldn't believe that had disappeared from, like, nobody knew about it until recently when, what is it, SRS released it a couple
Yeah,
years
Ron did
ago?
it. Yeah, and I licensed it
Yeah,
from Ron because he did like 25 copies on tape and they sold immediately. So I did all new artwork for it. I presented it how I think it would have looked in the 90s when it came out.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
And I'm really excited for that. I worked with Jackie Lawrence, the guy I do home video horrors with. He took the photo and I designed the rest of it, and it came out really cool. I'm excited to share that one later this month.
Oh,
So
all
much
right.
stuff, man. I'm doing so many releases all the time, and I'm working with so many cool independent artists. I'm gonna do Fish Piss later this year. Have you all
Oh,
seen
nice.
that
Right
one?
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in Fish Piss.
Yeah.
I'm
So you are.
yeah, I'm the guy in the TV who's telling you not to eat broccoli. I'm the Alex
Oh
Jones character in there.
damn! I must have missed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That movie's pretty wild. So
I mean, with the title
I
like
love that
Fish Piss.
fried kind of look, and I like the there's more depth in that movie than I think some people can realize. So I really like it a lot.
I was really excited because someone sent me a picture of what was playing at the what is it? I think it's called the Mocha in Philadelphia. There's a theater
Telemoka?
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they in that one week they were playing Fish Piss on the Tuesday, and on the Thursday they were playing Pee Pee Poo Poo Man, which is made by another guy who does events up here.
Yeah.
Ed our buddy Paul Bellini, who comes to ISOR often. He was in that too, and we were touring that around here as well. So it was like all these urine based things that have some sort of Kevin Bacon connection to me was playing that place that week. It was like, no, that's weird. But yeah, I ever so often get weird messages from people who add me on Instagram and it's like, hey, you're the broccoli guy from Fish Piss? And I'm like, wow, it's a good thing you're right, because if you were wrong, that would be the weirdest thing to message someone.
Yeah, but I mean, you're getting fame from it, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah. And the weirdest thing
That's-
when Janice said, hey, Adam, I think you do a really good impression of Alex Jones. And I'm like, what? Sure, okay. I mean,
That's
not
so
wrong,
offensive.
but
How dare you?
twice I've had someone come up to me and go, hey, we want you in our film because I think you'd be a really great hobo. Like the fact that it came twice, I mean, it must
And
be
you
a
are.
thing. As
And
I
you
am,
are.
yeah, I
Yeah,
am.
'cause you
Whatever,
are.
sure, we're good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, someone's indie weird black and white noir film they made. This student at U of T, they knew me through another person. They're like, "Can you be this guy who's just dead drunk on the street?" And in the whole opening credits is just you asking for change as people pass by, and he just stays on you for like every name in the credits. It's the most depressing thing I've ever seen. Like, yeah, it's what do you call it? Hardly boiled. What's it called? Every so
Very
often
good.
I see it come up on some weird like student film zine, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to talk about that one.
I don't want anybody to
It's not
know.
bad. I just didn't know what I was doing, but it's that was the early days. Anyway, we will end this on how we started this.
I do have my one
but
clip though. I want
you
to
do
show.
have another
Yeah, yeah.
special thing to show. Yes.
Yeah, so I actually cut something together specifically for you, Josh.
For me?
So so one thing
Wow,
that I've been
thank you.
doing is I don't know if you use Premiere to do your editing or anything, but Adobe Premiere has this thing where you can transcribe, just auto transcribe anything. So I've been auto transcribing my WOC recorded tapes, and I'm like, I don't know, 2,500-ish tapes into it, but it allows me to keyword search just random words. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to search Lunchmeat and see what I can find. So I put together a reel of random Lunchmeat things.
Thank you.
And I thought you'd
I'm
like
getting
this.
hungry too. This is great.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Well,
Good thing we're almost done.
there's plenty of Lunchmeat.
What is your favorite luncheon meat?
You spell it.
It's fun.
As long as there have been little boys longing to be grown up, there have been times when only Schneiders will do.
It's true.
It's for moments like these that J.M. Schneider made his bologna with only the finest cuts of meat. And we still
Look at that delicious Lunchmeat
for
right
the
there.
very same reasons. Schneider.
You guys don't have Schneiders down there, right? This
We
is,
don't.
I think,
I don't.
yeah, I think this is just a Canadian company.
Yeah.
So it's probably all going to be Canadian ads.
Bologna from finest cuts of meat is bold.
What makes them move so fast? Swift's Prem, the
Prem.
double-flavored
Oh.
luncheon meat with juicy pork and
I didn't even know what it was. I just knew it was going to be that.
I've never heard of Prem before.
Porky
No.
wings equals prem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't that sound appetizing?
No,
Look at it.
Preef. I didn't want to go with Preef.
What came first, prem or spam?
I think spam.
I don't know. That's a good question.
And then just chopped beef, and
Some
Swift
good
premium.
Swift's premium
Beef steaks in a
chunky.
can. Mm.
Look at these little sausages
I mean, I've eaten sausages
with
like that before.
with juices. It points out with juices.
Good old canned ham.
Did you guys ever see that
still
Silence
making,
of the Hams canned ham promo for the video store?
No.
It's real. It's ridiculous.
You'll find a number of good
Silence
reasons
of
to
the
shop both
Hams.
chain supermarket in Kappas Casing. Top quality.
It's like a
The amount
local
of things
supermarket.
of your clips that say Kappas Casing, and like, unless you're from around here, that's just a weird name to say.
Here you go. Click Luncheon
Click
Meat.
Lunchmeat. Oh.
Niblets
Click
Gold
it. I don't.
Kernel
It's
Kappas
like
Kappas
the
Casing
below.
is-
You're too
Kappas
broke to get
Casing's-
spam. You get clicked.
Kappas Casing's a small northern town. It's most famous for being where James Cameron was born. And that's
Oh,
where he
yeah,
comes from.
right.
Service isn't something we sell. We give it away.
Kapuskasing is also kind of how it looks.
The reason J.M. Schneider's customers had such confidence
Snyder's was a
in
big
Lunchmeats was
label
because
for us, so
they
they get the real
guessed what
commercials.
went into them.
I mean, Schneider still exists.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, you know, out of any footage, you're gonna find local ones.
Yeah, most of it
That's
is
what they
Schneider's ads.
click.
If you compare
But
a few labels,
Snyder's and
you'll
Maple
never
Leaf
find
always
the
made
phrase, "May
fancy
contain on
commercials.
any package
They just
Schneider's
delivered-
luncheon meats." Think about it.
Bologna
Oh, yeah, he just delivered-
unrefrigerated in a basket.
At Schneider's,
Well, I
It
think
was the
it's like,
1800s. It was a different time.
it was a freezer truck. It's like what they had in
Oh, like the Schwan Man?
Phantasm. Yeah, well, that, oh,
Spam burger hamburger.
Get Spam Luncheon Meat or Spam Light, and you've got the Spam Burger. It's
Like,
one great
out of all the
tasting
lunch meats that
hamburger.
exist, everything in this is a spam-based thing.
I mean,
Presenting Schneider's new
Isn't
line
just
Why
of
wouldn't it
lifestyle
be?
regular
products.
sliced
Wieners,
ham still
sausages,
considered a lunch
luncheon
meat?
meats, and steak heads.
yeah, I put that in because I
A
like how
whole
you said
new line of
wieners.
products for a whole new way of living.
Wieners.
With all that famous Schneider's quality and taste.
Schneider.
But created for
Rob
today's
Schneider
lifestyles
is a
with
wiener.
significantly less fat.
I'm digging the
Think
stop
about your
motion.
lifestyle. Think about
Yeah.
Oh
your
yeah,
lifestyle
the building the
products.
plate up
After
like
all,
that.
one good
I need more
lifestyle
stop motion
deserves
meat.
another.
I mean,
That was
haven't
beautiful.
we all
Thank you
said
so
that
much.
at least once? You're welcome.
We played that
I
one
thought you'd
craft
like
video
that.
for Christmas that was like Kraft's Christmas ideas, and they were like they were selling at grocery stores these baskets, and around the outside was ham, and then
Yeah.
it was like a bouquet of Kraft slices. Like they just like put them out like cards and said, "This is a gift to give your mother for Christmas."
Wow.
Nothing says love like sliced meat.
Yeah, but like still like in the individual little wrappers for your just Kraft slices. Wow.
Yeah, I can now search any weird random word. So yeah, if you ever want randomness, just hit me up with a word and I'll do a keyword search and I can pull you any
Dude,
commercial.
that is awesome, and I will. That is
Yeah,
fantastic.
please do. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want just
Thank
some weird nostalgia time stuff based on one word with no
Yeah.
control, that Morgan's the
Yeah,
guy
I
to do it.
got you.
Yeah, Morgan, I'm going to hit you up with some weird words, so be prepared. You know?
Okay. All right. Weirder the better.
Well then,
First
before
word,
we
tacos.
end with
Oh, well, that
yeah.
won't be hard.
Yeah.
I'll find you all the tacos. Okay.
Especially when you
Next
get
time
into
you're on,
some
we'll
of
do a
the,
taco.
Or
roll.
nachos.
the cable channels.
Okay.
Nachos may be a little bit more
You
classier.
really are hungry. I can tell.
Dude, yeah, I'm starving. It's dinner time.
All right. We're gonna get you out of here, but before, since we're talking about eating, then we also got to talk about being healthy. We talked about earlier, and the part that was to never be recorded was one
right.
to bring it back to Josh. That Josh worked with the Found Footage Festival guys to make a zine specifically about celebrity workout tapes, so like the famous Dolph Lundgren one and stuff like that. But we mentioned even today when Morgan and I went to a flea market, we still ended up with some Billy Blanks stuff.
Yep,
Does that
yeah.
count at all? Did that get mentioned at all? Because
Well,
Billy Blanks is still like
Billy Blanks is a special case because I think he got famous from doing Tybo. I think he was doing some, he did film work, obviously, and
I feel like I don't know.
Yeah,
I gotta
were
look
those
into that
Tybo
because I
tapes
feel like
before like the
King of the Fighters and
Back in
T2000
Action
might, because he seems much heavier in those movies than he did. I feel like maybe he created Tybo and was doing it as a thing, but I think his tape empire kind of exploded in the 90s more than the 80s.
I thought the Tybo was like 97 or something like that.
Yeah, and he'd already been a big action movie guy from like 89, 91,
Yeah,
92.
yeah. So maybe, but I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. I never really saw him as a celebrity workout. I always thought that.
I would suppose only for like schmucks like me who love PM Entertainment action films.
No, I mean me too.
Like
I mean, I love Balance of Power, and I love TC 2000, and I love all those movies. So I mean, Billy Blanks is great. I
Back
recently
to
watched
back with Roddy Piper.
Yeah, man. And I mean, like, I just watched this one called Driving Force where he plays one of the baddies, and he's awesome in it. But yeah, I mean, I think when we said celebrities, we meant like Joan Rivers or like Milton Berle.
And that was the gimmick of the tape, like
Bubba Smith.
Like when
Bubba Smith.
Like what was the one where all the did you count in there the parents of the celebrities one? There's that sort of famous one that has Sly's mom along with Sal Pacino. That's like
that's a Richard Simmons one, right?
Is it a Simmons one? Old celebrities, yeah.
But isn't that like Gray Foxes or something?
Yeah, Gray Foxes. That's what
Gray Foxes,
Old Wolves. I knew it was an animal of some sort. Old Wolves. Yeah, Gray Foxes. It's Gray Foxes. That's good.
That's the adult parody of Gray Foxes.
So Old Wolves.
Oh,
now
Old
that
Wolves
I
is
would
be
watch.
My old scooter fucking biker gang name. We're the Old Wolves riding around these mobile scooters. Don't fuck with us, man.
I like it. It's pretty tough,
But why did we mention that, Morgan?
Well, I think we brought up the fitness tapes because I'm working on a new show with one of my friends, and it's called Superfit Video Academy, and we're taking old workout tapes and we're doing them. We're putting them to the test, see if they work. A good example would be this one, Women at Large, which is 30-minute workout starring Charlene Powell, which is for large Midwestern women. So me and my large friend decided that maybe that would be a good option for two fat Toronto guys. It turns out it wasn't, but that's fine. Yeah, midsections. Yeah. But yeah, we've been doing the workouts, seeing if they work, putting them to a test.
Here, the $2 is for you, Daniel.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah, it's your cut.
Great, thanks.
Daniel's
Daniel.
getting his piece there. We're doing
Yeah,
a deal
so,
on the side.
I've been doing this workout show, so it premiered a couple of days ago on YouTube, and we're on to our second tape now. And yeah, you can follow along as we go through this fitness journey, and maybe I'll get fit. That's kind of the idea. I don't know if it'll actually happen. I do, though, feel somewhat better after having done my first workout, so at least it's working, sort of. But I cut together a little trailer, so I thought we could watch that quickly.
We also discussed in the time that was forgotten how much Josh is only people who can immediately say every time Morgan mentions a fitness tape, Josh
you
is
know
like,
what it
oh yeah,
is.
I know that one.
Yeah. Never met anyone else that could do that.
What channel was this intro off of?
It's from CKVR, which is a local channel here in Toronto, or
Right.
near Toronto.
A little more northern.
And then this SF logo was a fitness gym in Toronto called Super Fitness.
Oh.
And I found the commercials for it, and I was like, holy shit, it's our fucking logo. So I just kind of stole it.
Oh.
I mean, they don't exist anymore. My friend and I were actually talking about trying to figure out who owns that like brand and actually just buying it, because nobody would care about it anymore. And then maybe we could own that logo, because it's actually a really sweet looking logo.
Yeah.
Well, then we discussed when you were mentioning about trying to reach out to the brains behind the Buns of Steel films. It was like, what if they've got a really big butt now?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like the rumor of shaving. If you start, you have to do it forever. So if you got Buns of Steel, since that was one of the first ones you started on, now you have to do it forever, Morgan,
Oh, no.
or eventually your butt will just go huge.
Well, thankfully it started big, so I'm okay.
There we go.
Yeah,
But
so yeah,
you
please
did
watch
mention as
along.
well that your zine is still available, but in limited quality, Josh.
Limited,
So you got it.
quantity. And also
Hit up
limited
one-
quality, I guess, yeah.
I mean, we did mention as here in the basement from issues 3, 4, and 5, were just happened to be in the basement in a box in the back here, along with a whole bunch of Rue Morgue's. We're like a block away from where Rue Morgue's office was as of now. They left last year, but for the last decade they've been right beside us. So that little world of weird magazines and zines turned into magazines, it still is very relevant to us, and we love it. So we want to support it all the more. Same as when we mentioned how for the longest time we had way too many copies of Girls and Corpses, but what are you gonna do? We keep it classy here.
I mean,
You can never have too many
You
copies.
can never have enough girls or corpses. I mean, really. Well, think about it.
I have this memory of being alone in the store back when I was like regularly working as a clerk here, and it's just me and these two really old ladies came in, like the classic little with their big handbags that looked like they're made of thatch. they had the blue hair, they came in, or wicker, not thatch, that's different.
Yeah,
They had
right.
wicker.
I knew what you meant,
handbaskets.
though.
Yeah, and they looked and they saw it, and the thing just said, "Girls and Corpses, Gigi Allen interview with his corpse and interview with Hitler." That was what said on the cover of it, and it just had a woman in a bikini with a dead body on her lap, and I was like, they're going to be livid. And they looked at it, and they spun through it, and they just laughed. Because it was like, it went
Some
way
cool little
past insulting and upsetting and obscene. It went into this cartoon level, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
ridiculous. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so they couldn't even be upset about it. They were like, that's funny. And then they bought 5 copies. No, they didn't. They just, they just
And that's where they all went, was these two old
They
ladies. They
subscribed
they
immediately.
cleared you out. We want all the Girls and Corpses, please.
They were very happy about it. Yeah. Like that time I put on the best of the Whore Church. Are you familiar with that mashup
Yeah.
tape? So
I remember
they
Horchurch,
stopped, the two guys behind that stopped by the shop one day because they were playing at, I guess, some competition, and I didn't know who they were, and the tape, they were two metal dudes, and the DVD looks like a black metal concert. So I thought, oh, that's what it is. I'll look at it later. And they're like, hey, it's a gift because somebody there said you'd like this. I'm like, sure, okay. And then I put it on in the store on the big TV in the front there,
Oh, no.
and like went right to one of their worst parts. And again, that's the same time that it was so dead that day, and some real little old lady came in. She made eye contact with me. She looked at the golfing bit that's in there, and then she walked out that door not saying a thing. And I was like, I don't think I've ever felt this dirty.
Yeah.
All you have to say is the golfing bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
I didn't know what it
exactly.
was, and I was just entranced, and time stopped moving for a bit. That's the wonder of being able to, in the 21st century, still work at a video store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's moments like
amazing.
these that make life worth living.
Right. Yes. Scaring old ladies is what I do, which is why I think I will play the golf bit at our Dirty Show on the 25th. I think it needs to come back. I think some people need to see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus. I think I might turn away for that one. I know exactly which bit you're talking about. I've seen it. I don't know if I need to watch
Josh,
it
are
again.
you familiar with Chirpy?
Oh yeah, do you know Chirpy?
Maybe it
Again,
rings a bell.
We're not. It's a short animated.
We
bit
can't
that
show it to you
famously-
here.
No, we cannot show it to you.
It's way too fucked up.
But again, we'll send it to you.
Okay. Cool.
And I have Joe from Found Footage Festival. He had a short in Terrible Fest, and he won Best Short that year. So I made him a VHS award that had his film on the VHS, and it secretly has Chirpy at the end. He has never complained about it, so I don't think Joe has watched to the end.
No, I
I'm
don't
waiting
think
for this moment for him
yeah.
to message me going, "What the fuck was that?" But
he could have been just like, "Oh, that was great," you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
I mean, yeah. Well, no, I think Chirpy's pretty memorable. You would remember. So
Yeah, so
we'll send that.
Whatever. Yeah, we'll hook you up with that. It's a secret thing that was given to us.
Some Germans watching half-naked ladies. Yeah.
You get some entertainment for hanging out with us. We could talk for hours. Hopefully, we'll talk again in the future.
I'm down anytime. It's great to see you guys.
All right. Oh, yeah,
Best
thanks
for
so much for
everything.
joining.
So glad there's a new issue coming out.
Yeah,
Excited to when we hear more about July. Was it
11,
11th?
13th?
Right. For VHS, that's 9. That means they got 1 year on Terrible Fest. We're blasting out Terrible Fest this month. Morgan's got a new show with Alex coming out. We're all doing stuff. We're all staying weird and creative.
Doing the thing, man.
Everything's coming up, Millhouse.
Back in pog form.
Oh, I've got pogs here somewhere. Let me wait a minute.
Do you actually have a pog right in front of you?
I think this might be what it is. I have this the YouTube show trading cards sent me a bunch of cards, and there's a thing in here. Feels round. If you still to this day, if you order Assault on Snake Men from Colton Classics company, they ColtonClassicFilms.com, they also made pogs to go with my movie. You can still order extra pogs that they make individually for my movie.
Are you actually going to pull a pog out of there right now?
I don't know what it is. I've been wondering. Let's find out. So it's a bunch of course Power Ranger cards. We talked about that, but what's this thing in it?
Please
it's
be
a thing
a
that
coin.
like,
this will be the best end ever. Oh my god!
It's a power cap. I mean, it's a pog.
That's so
Power
good.
Rangers. Yes.
Look at that.
That's what other way to end this day?
I mean, that's the best end imaginable.
Very cool. Honored to see that. You know, it's cool.
R.I.P. Tommy. R.I.P. Trini. Never forget the power.
Rough.
Well,
again, thanks so much for coming, Josh.
Yeah, man, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. Really, I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have you on again.
Yeah, man. Whenever you
want. Be afraid when you check your emails and find a certain file of 2 videos sent to you. One is extremely kind of wholesome, and the other one is still kind of wholesome, but they're both traps.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm excited to get trapped then.